Good morning, folks. I'm back again, and this is the second installment of our America by the Numbers, the reproductive rights issue, edition, whatever. Look, before I start it, I have to say this. I notice when I talk about women's reproductive rights, the number of views and shares goes down. Now, I'm not into numbers on a personal level, but I am into numbers when it comes to sharing material so that the word gets out there. Okay. And I understand that, particularly for men and particularly for women who aren't of childbearing years, might not be the topic that's, uppermost in their minds. But I will remind you that in a government that is run by authoritarians, that if one group of people is not free, nobody is free. No matter what you think, there is never a point in what could happen here where you can feel that you are safe unless you are willing to line up behind the authoritarian in power. You are seeing this now in the Republican Party. You as a citizen will be required to profess fealty to Donald Trump no matter who you are. I remind everybody of that. But now let's get on with this, okay? So let's talk about June 24th being the second anniversary of the overturn of Roe v. Wade. This is an important month for women. And this is time for women to stand up here and understand just exactly where we are. So let's talk about where we are with abortion in this country. The number of states that fall under protective, very protective, and most protective of abortion number just 17 now. Okay? The number of states that have some restrictions on abortion, number 4. The number of states that fall into the restrictive, very restrictive, and most restrictive categories, number 29. It is banned completely in 13 states, and it is unavailable in Wisconsin, and in 6 other states, they are enforcing bans that would be considered unconstitutional under Roe. We are in bad shape here, ladies, no matter how you look at this. The GOP is just waiting to enact Project 2025's goal of restricting women completely, of restricting them not just of abortion rights, but we are now seeing a progression into mifepristone, where it is now in the courts, and the fate of that drug is going to be decided by justices instead of doctors and patients. Okay? It is now moving into contraception, where we saw the Senate, the GOP Senate, after contraception protection passed in the House, the GOP Senate blocked it. It did not reach 60 votes so it could get a full vote. And this is why I keep telling you, 52 senators is not going to get it done, folks. Okay? 52 Democrats are not going to get it done. They will block when they can. We have to think about all of this moving into November, okay? We also have had a recent bill passed in the House that actually overturns Joe Biden's rule that the VA can provide abortion care to women whose health is in danger or life is in danger, or in the case of rape and incest. That is not going to pass in the Senate. But that's not the point. The point is, you give them the power in November and that will pass. And in fact, let me tell you this, Donald Trump's out there now touting how, well, we have it where we want it now. The states can decide what to do. You know something? That's not where it's going to stop. And anybody who continues to believe a man who is a pathological liar is certainly stupid. Okay? What will happen is the GOP will pass a restrictive nationwide abortion ban, and Donald Trump will indeed pick up his big fat pen and his big fat orange hands and sign it. Because that is the ultimate goal here. Now, there have been countless stories of women who have suffered through the last 2 years, and none of it gets much play in this mainstream media, because what really sells for them is Donald Trump's big fat mouth being open every night, whining about his, oh my God, everything is being done to me. He has no idea what people go through, what his policies have done to people in this country. Okay? But I'm going to take a few minutes to read this to you. And I'm not putting the words up on the stage, up on the screen for you. That's not what I'm into. But we have a woman named Jennifer Atkins, 31 years old, lives in Idaho. She was excited to find out she was pregnant again. And she began to call her baby Spooky because the baby was due on Halloween. At a routine 12-week ultrasound appointment, she found out that her baby had a slim chance of survival and that continuing her pregnancy could put her health or even her life in danger. They told her that the fetus had excess fluid and skin edema, signs of cystic hygroma, and that her fetus likely had Turner syndrome, a rare condition that results from one of the X chromosomes missing. Atkins' doctor told her the fetus would not survive, and she was surprised that Atkins hadn't already miscarried. By the way, there are women going to jail for having miscarriages, okay? Just so everybody understands what's going on here in the United States. She was also told that there was a high likelihood that she could develop Mirror syndrome, a condition where a pregnant person develops fluid buildup and develops preeclampsia, which can result in stroke or death. Little aside here, my oldest daughter, she's now 28. My partner at the time developed preeclampsia, and I can tell you how many nights I rushed into the hospital with her. We managed to get to not quite delivery period time. We got to like 32 weeks, and it had to be a C-section. Preeclampsia is scary. I can tell you that from personal experience. So let's get on here with Jennifer Atkins. What they told her was if the laws in Idaho were different, they would refer her to an abortion clinic. But because Roe had been overturned and Idaho's near total abortion ban was now in effect, they could not do that. So she had to travel to Oregon to have her health care taken care of. You think that's normal here? This stuff is the stuff of barbarism. But that is what authoritarian rule actually is. It's barbaric to the people who have to live under it, not to the people who make the rules and live above it, okay? They don't have to live by their own rules. We do, all right? Women, the GOP doesn't give a shit about women. And frankly, I'm going to tell you this. I keep hearing rich white men, rich white men, rich white men. There are women behind those rich white men. There are plenty of Republican women out in the general population who believe in the second-class citizen theory. And there are plenty of women in Congress and the Senate who are Republicans who either participate in all of this nonsense or keep their mouth shut and say nothing, like, oh, you know, Susan Collins. Now they're talking about surveilling women. Donald Trump thinks the state should have the right to surveil women. Katie Britt introduced the Moms Act under the guise of, let's get women registered when they're pregnant so we can make sure they're getting all the services that they need to develop a healthy parent-child relationship and make their children happy. That is not what the Moms Act is about. It's another tactic to register women to make sure they're not getting abortions. They are trying to put in laws in states like Idaho and Texas that prevent women from using highways to go to another state to get an abortion. That is now being battled out in the courts. Nobody knows about that because none of the mainstream media carries that information either. And this is what my point is. We all need to go the extra mile to make sure we know what's going on in this country, because without knowledge, we have no power. Knowledge is indeed power. And that's all I'm really asking of you people. I'm asking you people to share this, not so I can get my hit rate up, because I don't monetize anything I do. That's not what I'm here for. I work in a hardware store for that. I'm trying to get information out. We need the general public to share it. And it doesn't matter if you're a guy or a woman here. We're not done yet, because gender politics is a big part of authoritarian rule. Authoritarian gender politics is a big part of authoritarian rule. The LGBTQ community is another group suffering under this, and we'll get to that in another video. But that's it for today. I will be back later. The weekend is here. I do not work Sundays and Mondays, and I will be busy, and I will talk to you all soon.